I grew up in the Oakland, if you've ever been to San Francisco, Alameda County is the Oakland foster care system right across the bay from San Francisco. And the average time to be in foster care is approximately 15 months. I am what they consider a lifer. I have spent over 13 years of my life in foster care, from age 5 till I aged out. You know, 51% of the US homeless population is aged out foster kids, because generally when I was growing up, the checks stopped coming to the foster parents when you turn 18. 65% of the sex trafficking in America are from young girls and boys from foster care. And where I'm from, California, 74% of the male prison inmates have been in foster care. I was just in Texas a couple days ago, and there's a statistic there that 80% in Texas, 80% of their Texas death row inmates have been in foster care. I shouldn't be standing here, ladies and gentlemen. I should be maybe homeless, an addict, in jail, incarcerated, or dead. See, how I came in this world is a crazy story. My mom, I gotta jump down here. You can see, I'm almost 6'6". You can see me here. Okay. I feel like crowded up there. My mom won't tell me to my face. I met my biological mom when I was 30 years old, 25 years later after she abandoned me. And I remember when I met her, she said to me, "Oh, you can call me mom now." And I'm like, "You are not my mom. You gave birth to me, but my foster mom is my mom." See, for me, love was thicker than blood. For me, you didn't have to have the DNA to be a parent. And so I told her, "You're not my mom." And I said, "I'm here because I need the truth. I have questions that have haunted me all of my life." I'm 30 years old at this point. And she has not visited me in foster care ever. She never called me. I might get a letter once a year. But I knew when I was abandoned that I had a brother and sister. And she kept my brother and sister and got rid of me. And so I told her, I want to know how in my state records, it shows that I was brutally abused for the first few years of my life, and that my mother was sexually abused by men in her past. And she goes, "I don't want to talk about that, Derek." And I said, "I want the truth," like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. "I want the truth." And she's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And I go, "I need to know. I'm getting ready to have my own kid at that point." And so she says, "I'll tell you something. Yeah, a man forced himself on me and I got pregnant. And when I told that man that I was pregnant, he said, 'Well, you better go get an abortion. If you don't get an abortion, I'll kill the kid myself.' So 3 months, no abortion. 6 months, no abortion. 7 months pregnant. You got a nice bump there. And my mom is waiting tables at a restaurant in San Diego, California, doing her job, waiting tables. And my dad comes into that restaurant in a fit of rage, grabs my mother by her long blonde hair at 7 months pregnant, drags my mom back into the kitchen, and continues to stomp on her stomach over and over again. But I lived. I tell people all over this world, I speak from Australia to the bottom of the earth to the Native Americans in the First Nation territory of Canada, and I tell them, as long as there's air in your lungs, as long as there's blood running through your veins, you have a purpose. And people ask me all the time, "Derek, what's the purpose? What's the meaning of life?" And I always tell them to give your life meaning. I stand on the stage with a microphone to be vulnerable for you, to share a message of resilience, but also a message of redemption. I have scars all over me from brutal child abuse. We've been homeless, living in a park in Southern California. We've lived in garages. And my dad's been in prison, in and out of prison. My mother hooked up with another guy after my dad went to prison, and we moved from a one-car garage. We lived in the garage, this old garage, and we went to live at his house. And my mom marries him, and he pretends like he likes me until my new stepdad turns on me, because my mom got pregnant with his kid, 3 kids, 3 different men. And he turns on me, and I have scars all over me, and I want to share one piece of abuse that changed my life forever. And It haunted me into my 30s. I'm 45. Do I look at it? All right, cool. But it haunted me, and I need to share with you because sometimes these triggers come back and haunt you later on in life, and you've got to deal with it. And I've come up with this 3-part formula: deal, feel, heal. You got to feel to heal. And for so long, my walls were up. I didn't like feeling. But at 5 years old, you never know what goes on in people's homes. But at 5 years old, my mother, in a fit of rage, decided to take me upstairs. And I'm holding on to the black stairway, and I look downstairs, and I see yellow Coors beer cans everywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my mom is drunk. She pulls me upstairs. She opens up the bathroom. She throws me in the bathroom. She comes in, kicks the door shut. She turns on the hot water to the sink. She proceeds to tell me how bad of a kid I am. That you're the devil, Derek. You're the devil. I wish I never had you. You're just like your dad. And all I see is steam coming up from the sink, and I have no idea what's going to happen. And then my mom does the unthinkable. She grabs my little left hand. This kid right here, grabs my little left hand and holds it under that water as I scream for my life. No, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm screaming for my life. She lets me go, and I hold my hand. And I look in the mirror and see the reflection of the most angriest person I've ever seen. My mother, who's supposed to love me, who's supposed to protect me, who's supposed to care for me, tell me how great I am. And then my mom snaps. She grabs my left hand again, and she holds it under that hot water, which felt like an eternity. And it burned, and it burned, and it burned, until she finally let go. And this 5-year-old kid right here, all the skin and part of the flesh all came off in one clump. And not only did she burn my hand, she burned into my heart, into my soul, into my spirit, into my mind, that I was a bad kid, that I had no value. She bandaged me up, and a few months later, her and my stepdad loaded me up in the car, and we took a drive. And we ended up at this big building. We walked in, and my mom and stepdad are talking to a few people, and then they leave. And a guy in a white coat takes me. They abandoned this kid right here at 5 years old at a psychiatric hospital and never came back for me. And I stayed at that psychiatric hospital for a while they did all these tests on me. I had neurological evaluations, brain scans going through the big machine, psychological, psychiatric evaluations, speech and language evaluations. And this kid right here, 6 years old, after they were doing these tests, they realized that I had all these major issues. I had the IQ of a 2-year-old. I had 60-word vocabulary, and mainly they were cuss words and very bad phrases. And I was overtly psychotic, erratic psychosis, reactive attachment disorder where I couldn't attach to people, lots of abuse. And they gave me all these labels. And the biggest label that followed me was that I was mentally handicapped. But in those days, they used the R word. And they said if an adequate foster home cannot be found for Derek, he will be sent back to the psychiatric institution. He can go into foster care. And I stayed at a shelter right on the border of Oakland and San Leandro. And I stayed at what they call an orphanage or something until I found a home. And 8 other foster homes that took high-level little kids like me didn't want me. And I'm back at the shelter. And I'm an angry kid, and rightfully so. How do you want me to be in the system? I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I just want to go home. I'll go back to the abuse. I'll go back to the abuse because that's love to me. And when you're conditioned that way, that's what you think love is. I didn't know what real love was. I want to go back home. They said I was not adoptable because of the severity of my emotional and behavioral problems. I'm here to tell you that every kid is adoptable. Every kid deserves love. Every kid deserves family. Every kid doesn't have to pay the price for their parents' mistakes. Thank you. And so I'm at the shelter, and my social worker, Cheryl, she's this cute blonde. I'm this little kid. And she would take me to the Oakland Zoo. She would take me to get ice cream. And I would always say to her, hey, Cheryl, I'm going to marry you one day. And she'd go, oh, Derek. She never said no. But I just loved Cheryl, and I just loved the idea that she was my protector and my advocate. And she found this foster home that wasn't looking to be a foster parent anymore, because being a foster parent is a very emotional roller coaster ride. It's a big emotional investment. And sometimes when you fall in love with that kid and you want that kid for yourself, but that kid goes back home, we all know the number one killer of kids are their parents. And so these foster parents weren't looking to be foster parents anymore. They were looking to adopt, and they had looked at 3 little kids, and they were now making their choice. And Cheryl, my social worker, said, we've got this cute kid. They called him up. He's got a big, she's trying to sell me, right? You know, she's got a big personality. He's got a big personality. If you don't get him, his dad's in prison, his mom doesn't want him. If you don't take him, he goes back to the psychiatric hospital. And you know what they said? They said, can we try him out for a weekend, Friday through Sunday? Just try me out. So as I'm driving up with Cheryl to the home, she's telling me, Derek, please be good. Please be good. Because I've been in so much trouble with the other foster homes in the shelter. And I said, okay, Cheryl. And as I knock on the door, now there's a lot of anxiety being a foster kid. Where am I going to sleep in their house? Do I have a pillow? Where do I sit at the dinner table? What if I sit in some other person's place? Are they going to be mad at me? What if I don't like their food? Do I have to help clean up? I'm scared of the dark until like 12 years old. I'm scared, will they let me sleep with the lights on? So we knock on the door, and I have all this anxiety, and I knock on the door, and all of a sudden the door opens. And they say, oh, this man goes, hi, Derek, how are you? And I didn't like happy people at that point. And I felt his happiness. I'm like, psh, how do you know my name? How do you know my name? And I'm really frustrated. He goes, whoa, you have a little attitude. Why don't you run around? Why don't you run around? And I'm like, I don't want to run. He's like, just run around. And I'm like, okay, I'll run away then. He goes, fine, run, like that. And we run, and I run off the pavement onto a dirt road, and all of a sudden I see horses coming up to me on the fence line. And I never seen horses, and I'm like, holy cow, they're so huge. And then we get to a barn, and there's a bunch of rabbit hutches in the barn. They got goats behind the barn. They got pigs. They got a dog and a cat, and then they have the granddaddy of them all, the big prize. They have a bunch of chickens in a chicken coop. And that whole weekend, you found me in one place, because I didn't want to trust any other human being. If my own parents got rid of me, who could I trust? You found me in the chicken coop. And I would go in there and try to catch the chickens, and they would scatter, except this one chicken. She wasn't scared. She's like doing her little chicken dance, right? Doing her little chicken dance, and I sat my butt on the ground, and we're like eye to eye, and I start talking to that chicken. And I loved that chicken. I named her Wilbur. And Wilbur was my most awesome friend. And at the end of that weekend, it was time for me to go. And I threw the biggest temper tantrum, because I'm now back going to the shelter. And I throw the biggest temper tantrum, screaming, cussing, all out of control. And my foster mom says, Derek, we don't act like that here. Get up. I get up, and my social worker Cheryl's right there, and she says, Derek, what's wrong? I go, see, they don't even want me, Cheryl. Nobody wants me. Well, those foster parents talked to Cheryl and said, can we try him out for a week? Can we just keep him for a week? And that week was amazing. And at the end of the week, I knew it was time to go. I had my black plastic bag full of my little clothes. And I'm in my room, and my foster mom comes downstairs and says, Derek, we have a surprise for you. And I said, do I get to take Wilbur with me? And she goes, no, you get to stay here a month. And a month turned into a year, and a year turned into years. They are my mom and dad. They never gave up on me. Thank you. They never gave up on me. They never changed the locks on the front door when I was a crazy teenager. They did it for their own biological kids, but they never did it for me. And what they realized is, I had all these labels, but what they realized is, okay, he has all these labels, but the real issue is that he's an angry kid, and rightfully so. When you go through a lot of abuse, you're angry at the world, angry at the violators, angry at everything. And so they worked on creative outlets for me, like music, writing music, learning music, playing guitar, piano, clarinet, saxophone. And they worked on me at 10 years old. I was 9 years old when I started to read and write. I was that delayed, 9 years old. And so my life transformed because somebody took the time to invest in me. That's what it really was. Somebody invested in me. You know, the greatest investment in your life is not your bank account, it's not your 401k, it's not your car, it's not your house, it's your children. I'm serious. I've met people that make $250 million. I met a guy who makes $1 billion. I speak all over. And you know what? They're not talking about their money. Sometimes they're talking about what's going on with their kids. The kids are your greatest asset. And so I am who I am today because somebody invested in me. Now, I want to show you the bond between a chicken and a kid. Look at that. Now, who's eating chicken tonight? No, I'm playing. People always ask me, because we ate our chickens, we ate our goats, we ate our rabbits, all that stuff. And they always say, whatever happened to Wilbur? I'm like, there was no way Wilbur was going under the axe. Wilbur lived a long life. We ate his brother and sisters, but but Wilbur lived a long life. Now, here I am growing up in the foster care system. And look at that smile. Look at that smile. Now, look at my haircut. Somebody should tell foster parents, do not attempt to cut your kid's hair the night before school pictures. My hair's all jacked up there. Here I am as a freshman. And then here I am as Mr. Diamond D. Now, growing up in the Bay Area, I got to tell you this. I went to a school that was primarily African American, Hispanic, Samoan, Tongan, and we had a big culture there. You can YouTube Hayward High race riots, and it's African American, Hispanic, Samoan against Tongan, Filipinos against this, Asians against this, and I'm this white boy in this school. And I'm this loner. And you know who takes me in are the San Francisco Bay Area skater punks. We got big red mohawks, green mohawks, piercings, illegal tattoos, smoking cigarettes, and they take me in. And I am now this skater punk. And I'm at this school, and they call me C-Dub because I like to fight. And CWB, but C-Dub is short for CWB, which means crazy white boy. And so as I'm at this school, I'm hanging out with one of my best friends, Arlen Green. I'll never forget, AG, we call him AG. And I'm hanging out with him, and I see something in the corner. A bunch of guys going, hoo, 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 hoo. And I'm like, what's going on over there? Oh, they doing battles, D. What, fighting? No, they doing battles. And I'm like, what's battles? He goes, rap. And I'm like, I don't listen to rap. But some voice inside said, Derek, go check it out. So I walk over there and I see something that changes my life forever. I see two guys battling each other, talking about their mamas, cussing, going crazy on each other. And they're not fighting with their fists, they're fighting with their mouth. And I turn to Arlen and I go, dude, I want to be a rapper. He goes, nah, you white, dude, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, I want to be a rapper. And he goes, nah, D, you can't. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I didn't want to be a skater punk with these horns, orange horns. I wanted to be a rapper. So because I had so much bitterness and anger and resentment, and I needed to get this pain out. And I stepped up to the guy and said, hey, let me battle somebody, let me battle. They go, get out of here. I'm like, no, we going to fight then? He goes, no, we're going to battle, okay. So he goes off on me, talking about my mom, talking about my race, talking about my girlfriend, all this stuff. And I turned to Arlen and I go, dude, this guy is so cool. That is not the way to respond when you're in a battle. But it was my turn to battle back, and I sucked. And they call me white boy, you whacked. I said, don't call me, call me Rip and D. R-A-P-P and D is now my new code, right? My new tag. And they're like, okay. But what is rap? Rap is poetry in motion. And my life transformed because I was able to get the inner stuff out. So as I'm writing my raps, I'm literally starting to heal myself to get this pain out. Now, it took me about a year to start to get some rhythm, some flow, they call it. Spit some bars, This is some California term. I don't know if they use it out here, but. And then I went in the middle of one of my raps, I did something like this. Well, I'll be the ripping, I'm thinking, I'm making, taking my time. I'll be the thinking, I'm making, sucking, I'm making, kicking it with the rhymes. And then I would switch a reggae. Is a man the one to feel, thinking, I'm making, sucking, I'm making, kicking it with the deals. I'm about every look, I'm nothing. And people were like, oh my gosh. And then the girls were like, that white boy is fine. And then everything changed. And everything changed. And I bring this up to show you Mr. Diamond D when I was his foster youth, because they didn't put it in my intro. But I'm a pretty big viral sensation called The Rapping Dad. I've had about 15, 20 million views just on one of my videos, and it's me rapping in the car with my kids. I was recently on Steve Harvey. Me and Steve Harvey were tied on a show to all these other TV shows. And when I was on Steve Harvey's TV show, we're in the background in the green room and we're hanging out. He goes, man, because you got to be fitted, you got to have your suit on for his show. He's like, man, what have you been through? And I was telling him, I've been in foster care and all this stuff. He goes, wow, looking at you, you would never think where you've come from. Oakland, Hayward, all that stuff, the Bay Area. But something that caught up with me, because I rap in the car with my kids, and it's clean rap, and it's fun rap, and it's car talk time. And I want to share one of the raps that I wrote that is best of Instagram, best of Vine. And I'm one of the most viewed videos, you probably maybe not heard this, but World Star Hip Hop, which for me to be on World Star Hip Hop is a big deal. But this video, this little rap I'm going to do for you will show you my mental state now at this time raising my kids. So I'm in the car with my 10-year-old daughter and my 6-year-old son. And when I get in the car, there's no headphones, there's no iPod time, iTouch time. We talk to Dad. That's where I got them confined. They can't do anything. So I usually make it fun, joking, rapping about stuff. And I get in the car with my daughter and my son, and I turn on the radio, and there's this song coming on from Nicki Minaj. She's a pop star, rap star. And I'm like, oh, turn this off. I don't want my little daughter listening. And then she goes, why can't I listen to it? I'm like, because I don't like what they're saying. So I decided to make it fun for her, so I did this. And it got videotaped. My son videotaped it, and then it took off. And it goes like this. Got to keep the lyrics clean, if you know what I mean. No more Nicki Minaj in a twerking machine. No more naked fashion from Kim Kardashian, your mom. Do you need an intervention? And Miley, no more wrecking ball. Put on some clothes, where's Hannah? Yeah! Got to turn off Kanye, Eminem, Jay-Z, no more cuss words and negativity. Because a lot of rappers talk about drug, sex, killing. When they going to use their words to start healing? Infect the mind of our young kids. When I think about the little boy who didn't know Jesus, but knew Lil Wayne, knew T-Pain, knew 2 Chainz, 50, LeBron James. This is insane in the membrane because I'm ripping, I'm thinking, I'm making, take about the rap game. Everybody's got a little battle to battle. I'm the rapping dad, I gotta get you back in the saddle. Ripping and thinking, I'm making it, sucking, I'm making it, kicking it kind of famous. Here I am now making up my own language. Thank you. So having that creative outlet literally changed my life. Poetry, that's what it was. Poetry literally changed my life. Now, I became the man I am today because someone took the time and the courage to give me more than what was expected, to go beyond. Because no one ever gave up on me, my life transformed. Someone took the time to make me feel important, respected, accepted, included, secure, and loved. And that's what every one of you want in life. These are human needs. These are the critical needs of humans right here. And imagine a kid that's been abused. Imagine a kid that's been molested. Watch his parents die right in front of them. Imagine what we've been through. And then, how do we find happiness? How do we find joy in life? But I found my joy because rap was the vehicle to help me start writing. This kid who grew up, thrown away, spent time in psychiatric hospital, I've now written 7 books. And I started to read and write at 9 and 10 years old. You cannot tell me that with an investment in a kid, their life will change. Your life will change, especially helping a kid that's gone through so much and to see them come from nothing negative nothing. I mean, think about it. I lost everything in my life. I lost my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents. I lost my room, my school, my toys. I lost my dignity. I lost my self-respect. I lost the ability to trust. I lost the ability to love. I lost my identity. But through the years, I learned how to turn nothing into something. So don't tell me that you can't make a difference. We're here today because you can make a difference. Look, I've been married 22 years. I have 4 beautiful children. I have broken the cycle. Thank you. I have broken the cycle so that my grandkids, when they have kids, when my grandkids are born, there's no more generational curses. See, God has a way of turning broken pieces and turning them into masterpieces. And it's because of people like you that are givers. Some of you have been blessed with financial blessings. Some of you have been blessed with time. We need your financial blessings tonight. We need them. Every one of you has a card on your table. I have a smile right now because someone kicked in for braces. My teeth were all jacked up when I was young. If I could do something for every foster kid, it would be, I try not to get emotional here, but it would be to give every kid a real good smile so that they look in the mirror and know that they've got a smile. Even if you got to fake it till you make it, you still have a smile there. I meet so many foster kids that don't even want to show their smile. Their teeth are rotted, cavity, all this stuff. You can make a difference. Every one of you has a card. And on that card, you have some check marks, some places to check. What I want right now is for someone to sponsor foster parents, because I wouldn't be here today without foster parents. Do you know how much it takes to recruit, to train, to certify, and then retain? Because so many foster parents want to quit after they have someone like me. But to retain them, it costs about $7,500. And Bloom wants to go into all 60 counties. I was talking to Becky. She wants to take this statewide. Do you know that they service about 1,200 foster kids? But do you know how many foster kids are in the state of Georgia? 14,000. They hit almost 10%. She wants to get a mobile bus where she can have a mobile Bloom closet on there to literally go to all these different counties. They have some big, big dreams, and they need your help. So this is what I want to do. I want to let you know that you can instill the seed of hope in a child. And I came up with this acronym for HOPE when I gave my TED Talk on the power of determination. And HOPE is all about helping one person every day. Helping one person every day. When you get beyond helping one person every day, it becomes helping other people excel. That's what HOPE is. I wasn't born with the silver spoon. I wasn't even born into something. I was born into hell. But I'm here today passing on the word, the good word.